In this video I'm going to show my ColecoVision computer here running a Juputer Ace ROM from a computer back in the 80s, and it runs the fourth programming language rather than BASIC, which most of the computers back in the 80s ran. So if I switch on the computer now, I'll show it going through all of the ROMs that I've got so far running on it. So this is the ColecoVision ROM running, and it's running the ColecoVision cartridge there. So if I select the next ROM, and this is ZX81 ROM, and you've got a ZX81 command prompt, so you can type in ZX81 programs and run them. And then the next ROM, out of 4 ROMs, I haven't got a fourth ROM yet, but the third ROM is the Juputer Ace, and there's the prompt for the Juputer Ace. And so I can type in something like vlist to list the vocabulary, and it prints it out like that. If I type in a quick program, so if I just print out the character set, so I just do a loop going through 0 to 255, and I is the iterator, the variable, and emit displays the character of the variable that came before it. Then finish it with a semicolon. Then I just type char set to run that. And there's the character set. I've still got issues with my composite video output, so because it doesn't really like white on black, because I think the black is confusing it's the sync signals. If I type enter 9, I can invert the image, and I can have black on white rather than white and black, and I've added that to my ZX81 ROM as well, so that I can change these display colours on that by pressing enter and 9. But there's a character set there displayed. But I've also added enter 0 like I've got in the ZX81 system, and I've got a couple of things built in here. Blitz is the first one, so if I select that, and it loads up the Blitz game. So if I run Blitz, so there's a Blitz game playing. And as you can see, it displays high-res graphics like it does on the Juputer Ace. So that all runs as well. So I'm running a Texas Instrument display chip like is in the ColecoVision. And I've got a display driver I've written which converts the Juputer Ace display onto the Texas Instrument, and it runs things like it would on a Juputer Ace. I'll break into that. And the other thing I've got in the actual built-in stuff is examples. So these are the examples from the manual for the Juputer Ace. So just clear the screen and print out the vocabulary, and you can see I've got a bunch of things in here which I've added to the vocabulary. So one of the things I've got is in the manual there's a program which controls the beeper on the Juputer Ace and plays 3 blind mice. Now I don't have the beeper on here, but I have overridden the beep command in fourth, so they actually play through the ColecoVision sound chip as well. So if I run mice, so sound in the fourth language still works on this computer even though I don't have a beeper, which is on the hardware address of the Juputer Ace itself. And then I can also do other things from the manual as well. So if I just do like a run the draw program, and it shows drawing with the blocky graphics, and I do something like run the clock, and there's clock running, which is another example from the manual. So I've crammed everything I could into the 16K ROM area which I've got. I can't run cartridge games for the Juputer Ace because I have to bank out that memory, which I'll go through when I actually compare the memory maps for these computers. but I do have a tape interface on the back, which hopefully I should get running eventually, and I should hopefully be able to load off tape and save to tape for both Juputer Ace and ZX81. Although ZX81s I can run games off of the cartridges, as I've shown in a previous video. So this is the memory map which I showed in my last video, comparing the ZX81 memory map to the ColecoVision and my ColecoVision computer, which I call CartridgeVision. And it showed that when my computer starts up, it has a 16K ROM image at the top of memory, which is selectable one of 4 ROM images. And then below that it has, or above that I should say, it has 16K RAM. And above that it has 30K cartridge slot, which is for compatibility with the ColecoVision, so I can run ColecoVision cartridges. But when I actually run the Juputer Ace ROM, in this area here at the top of the 16K ROM image is where the Juputer Ace has its display memory, and that can't be ROM. So I have to do something slightly different with that. So if I go to the Juputer Ace memory map, so on the Juputer Ace memory map, what I can do on my computer is I can bank out the ROM image and the cartridge slot and just have a full 64K of RAM. And that means that here where the actual Juputer Ace has its display memory, I've got RAM then. It also means that where the Juputer Ace has its ROM, the actual memory area is read and write on my computer. So something could overwrite the actual ROM image when it's running on my computer, but the actual ROM itself for the Juputer Ace doesn't seem to have any bugs, so that hasn't seemed to have happened yet, so that's good. But what it also means is, because I can bank out all of the ROM and the cartridge area, I can actually have 64K RAM, which is what's required for running CPM. So I should be able to get CPM to run on this computer as well, which will be what goes in my 4th slot for my ROM images.